My phone rang at 10:47 p.m. from a number I didn't recognize. I almost let it die in my palm, because when an unknown number calls that late, it's either bad news or somebody you buried in your past digging their way back out. I answered anyway. Hello. For a second there was only breathing. Then a voice I hadn't heard in 5 years slid into my ear like a cold key turning. Don't hang up, she said. It's Melissa. My ex-wife. 5 years, no calls, no texts, no accidental run-ins. She'd been a closed chapter. Scabbed over, ugly underneath, but closed. What do you want? I asked, already feeling my stomach tighten. I'm not calling to fight, she said. I'm calling because I just saw something. I laughed once, sharp and humorless. Melissa, your wife, she cut in. I saw your wife with another man in a hotel. My throat locked. It wasn't dramatic. It was physical, like my body decided oxygen was a privilege I didn't deserve. What? I whispered. I'm at the Beaumont downtown, she said. Conference thing. I walked through the lobby and I swear to God it was her. Same hair, same walk. She was with a guy. They checked in together. My hands went numb around the phone. I stared at the living room wall like it might explain what she was saying. You're lying, I said, because the word lying was the only thing that made the world feel stable. I wish I was, Melissa replied. Her voice didn't sound smug. It sounded tight, controlled, like she was holding something back. I swallowed. Why are you telling me this? A pause. Then she said it, quiet like a confession. Because nobody warned me, and I spent 10 years looking stupid. The old anger tried to rise, but it couldn't find its footing, not with what she'd just dropped on my chest. Which hotel? I asked. The Beaumont. I saw them go to the elevator. He had his hand on her back like he belonged there. I felt my stomach roll. And you're sure it was her? I asked. Melissa exhaled. I'm not calling you for fun, Nate. I know what your wife looks like. My mouth opened, closed, opened again. I have to go, I said. Wait, she said fast. Nate, please don't do something stupid. Don't storm in. Don't. The line went dead. She hung up. And there I was, standing in my quiet house with the kitchen light still on, and my wife's sweater folded over the back of the chair like proof she existed. Sarah came out of the hallway a minute later, hair damp from a shower, wearing that oversized t-shirt she stole from me the first month we dated. Who was that? She asked, casual, rubbing lotion into her hands. I looked at her like she was a stranger wearing my wife's face. Nobody, I managed. She smiled. Nobody sounds stressful. I forced a small laugh. Just spam. Sarah stepped closer and kissed my cheek. Soft, quick, normal. And that normal kiss nearly broke me because my brain screamed, how can you kiss me like that if you were in a hotel with someone else 2 hours ago? She walked into the kitchen. I'm starving. You eat? Yeah, I lied. She opened the fridge. I have a work thing tomorrow night. Might be late. My stomach clenched. Where? I asked, trying to sound like I didn't care. Downtown, she said. The Beaumont. I swear the room tilted. I gripped the counter, pretending I needed balance. Sarah didn't notice. Or maybe she did and pretended not to. I'll probably stay overnight, she added. It's easier than driving back at midnight. Right, I said, voice too calm. She turned, studying me for half a second. You sure you're okay? I nodded. Just tired. She touched my arm. I'll call you when I get there. That night, I didn't sleep. I just listened to Sarah breathe beside me and wondered how many lies fit inside a human chest without cracking the ribs. The next day, I went to work and did nothing. Emails stacked, calls went to voicemail. My hands shook every time my phone buzzed. At 6:10 p.m., Sarah came home in a blazer she never wore for normal meetings. "You look nice," I said. She smiled. "It's an important client." "Uh-huh." She grabbed her bag. "Don't wait up." "I won't," I said. She leaned in. "Love you." I stared at her mouth like it was a weapon. "Love you too." The second she left, I sat in my car and followed. I hate admitting that. I hate the man I became in that moment. But trust is a fragile thing. Once it breaks, every sound becomes suspicious. Sarah pulled into the Beaumont Valet line. I parked across the street where I could see the entrance. She stepped out, smoothed her hair, and walked inside like she'd done it 100 times. 10 minutes later, a black SUV rolled up. A man got out. Mid-30s, clean suit. The kind of confident posture that says he's never been told no in his life. He walked inside without looking around, and my heart did that sick thing where it tries to crawl away from your own body. I waited. I told myself I'd leave if I didn't see anything. Then I saw them. Sarah and the man stood near the elevators, not hugging, not kissing. Worse, comfortable. She leaned in and said something. He smiled. They both laughed, quietly, like they shared a private joke. Then they stepped into the elevator together, and the doors closed. I sat there in my car, frozen so long the air inside went stale. My phone buzzed, a text from Melissa. "I'm sorry, I'm really sorry." I didn't reply. I drove home like a ghost. At 11:56 p.m., Sarah texted, "Running late, don't worry." At 1:18 a.m., phone dying. "I'll call tomorrow." At 2:03 a.m., "Please don't be mad, we need to talk." That last one hit different, because cheaters don't say we need to talk unless the lie is about to collapse. I didn't answer. I couldn't trust my own words. Morning came. I heard the front door. I stayed sitting at the kitchen table, unmoving, like a man waiting for a judge. Sarah walked in slowly. Her hair was a mess. Her eyes were red. Not tired red. Cried in a bathroom stall red. She stopped when she saw me. "Nate," she whispered. I didn't move. "Where were you?" She swallowed. "The Beaumont." "With him." Her face flickered. "You followed me." "Answer the question." She stepped closer, hands slightly raised like she was approaching a wild animal. "Before you say anything, please, just let me talk." I laughed once. "That's rich." "Nate, who is he?" I asked. My voice came out low and flat, like it belonged to someone older. Sarah's mouth trembled. "His name is Grant." "Grant," I repeated. "And what is Grant to you?" She hesitated for half a second too long. I stood up so fast my chair scraped. "Don't lie to me," I said, voice shaking now. "I saw you. I saw the way you looked at him." Tears spilled down her cheeks. "I wasn't going to keep it from you." That sentence is a knife. It sounds gentle until you realize what it means. "You weren't going to keep what from me?" I asked. Sarah's shoulders slumped. "It started 3 months ago." My ears rang. 3 months. 3 months of kisses, of dinners, of love you, of sleeping next to me like I was the safe, boring option. I gripped the table until my knuckles turned white. "You've been cheating on me." Sarah nodded, crying hard now. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." I stared at her. My brain tried to reject reality like a bad organ transplant. "Why?" I whispered. She wiped her face. "I didn't plan it. I swear. It just happened. He's a client. He made me feel—" I cut her off. Don't give me the speech. Don't dress it up." She flinched like I slapped her. "Nate, I hate myself for it." I took a step back. "So last night, was it just business, or was it—" Sarah sobbed. "It was both." I shut my eyes. I felt my body sway like my bones were suddenly too heavy. Then my phone buzzed again. Melissa. I looked at the screen and it felt unreal, like the universe had a sick sense of symmetry. I answered. What? Melissa's voice was sharp. Did you confront her? Yes, I said through my teeth. A pause. Then Melissa said something that made my stomach drop a second time. Okay, good. Now listen to me very carefully. What? I snapped. She's going to try to flip it, Melissa said. She's going to cry, apologize, and then she's going to make you the villain. She did it to me. She'll do it to you. I went cold. Why do you sound prepared? Melissa exhaled. Because I know Grant. My heart stuttered. What did you just say? I know him, she repeated. Because Grant is the same man I caught her texting when we were still married. I blinked. That's impossible. Melissa's voice turned bitter. It's not impossible. It's a pattern. I looked at Sarah, who was watching me like she could hear Melissa through the phone. Who are you talking to? Sarah asked softly. I didn't answer Sarah. I said into the phone, Are you telling me my wife, Sarah, was involved with Grant before I even met her? Not Sarah, Melissa said. I gripped the phone. Then who? Melissa's voice dropped to a whisper. Nate, I'm not talking about Sarah. My skin prickled. What are you talking about? Melissa said carefully. You think I called you because I'm being kind? I didn't. My mouth went dry. Then why? Because I saw them together and I recognized him, she said. And I realized something. What? Her next words came out like venom wrapped in silk. I realized you're about to get played the same way I did. I stared at Sarah again. My brain was scrambling, trying to fit pieces that didn't match. Sarah wiped her face. Nate. Who is that? Melissa's voice pressed through the speaker. Tell him, she said. Tell him what Grant really wants. Sarah's eyes widened, and that's when I knew. My wife wasn't just crying because she cheated. She was crying because the lie was bigger than I understood. I slowly set the phone on speaker. Sarah, what does he want? Sarah shook her head. Please don't do this. What does he want? I repeated louder. She squeezed her eyes shut. He asked me to get you to sign paperwork. My stomach lurched. What paperwork? She whispered. Your business. I felt the blood drain from my face. I owned a small contracting company. Nothing glamorous, but profitable. A few commercial clients. One of them was Grant's firm. My voice came out thin. He was using you, Sarah sobbed. At first I didn't know, I swear. And then when I did, I was already in too deep. Melissa's voice cut in. He did the same thing to me, she said. Charm, attention, secrets. Then suddenly paperwork, leverage, threats. I stared at Sarah, feeling something inside me harden. Not just heartbreak, but clarity. Was last night about cheating, I said slowly, or was last night about getting me distracted? Sarah couldn't answer. Her silence answered for her. I stood there in my own kitchen, realizing the betrayal had layers. The affair wasn't just an affair, it was a trap. And my ex-wife, who I hated for 5 years, was suddenly the only reason I knew before it was too late. I picked up the phone. Melissa, why now? Melissa exhaled. Because I'm finally sick of being the kind of person who watches someone walk into a fire and says nothing. I looked at Sarah. Did you plan to leave me? Sarah cried harder. No, I swear I didn't want to. I wanted to stop. I tried. Then why didn't you? I asked. Her voice cracked. Because he recorded things, messages, pictures. He said he'd ruin me if I didn't do what he wanted. The room went silent except for her sobbing. I stared at the woman I married, my safe place, now trembling like she'd been living inside a storm, and I realized something cruel and complicated. She betrayed me, but she was also cornered, and the person holding the leash wasn't love. It was leverage. I took a breath so deep it hurt. "Okay," I said. Sarah looked up, shocked. "Okay?" I nodded slowly, eyes locked on her. "You're going to do one last thing for me." Melissa's voice sharpened. "Nate, don't—" I held up a hand like she could see me. "Not violence, not stupid." I looked at Sarah. "You're going to text Grant." Sarah froze. "What?" "You're going to tell him I'm ready to sign," I said. "You're going to set the meeting. Same place, same hotel." Sarah's lips parted. "Nate." "Do it," I said, voice steady now. "And you're going to put your phone in your purse with the voice recorder on." Melissa went quiet. Sarah's hands shook. You're setting him up." "I'm setting the truth up," I said, "because I'm done being the guy who only reacts after the damage is done." Sarah swallowed hard, then nodded. She typed. I watched every letter. "Grant, Nate's ready. He wants to sign today. Beaumont, 7 p.m. 3 dots appeared almost instantly. "Perfect. Tell him to come alone. He'll be too embarrassed to say no." My stomach tightened at the arrogance. Melissa's voice came through the speaker, soft now. "Nate, be careful." "I will," I said. That evening, I didn't walk into the Beaumont as a broken husband. I walked in as a man who had finally stopped begging for reality to be kinder than it was. Sarah and I sat in the lobby. She looked like she hadn't breathed all day. "You don't have to do this," she whispered. I glanced at her. "You already did it," I said quietly. "I'm just choosing how it ends." Grant arrived at 7:06. Same confident stride, same polished smile. He looked at Sarah first, then at me, like I was furniture he planned to move. "Nate," he said, extending his hand. "Good to see you." I didn't shake it. His smile faltered for half a second. Then he recovered. "Shall we go upstairs? More private?" I smiled without warmth. "No, we'll talk right here." Grant's eyes narrowed slightly. "This isn't really lobby conversation." "It is when the lobby has cameras," I said. Sarah's breath caught. Grant glanced around, then back to me. "You're being dramatic." "No," I said. "I'm being awake." Grant leaned in, voice lower. "Look, man, this doesn't have to get messy." I tilted my head. "It already is messy. You slept with my wife." Grant's face didn't even pretend to be sorry. He only looked annoyed, like I'd mentioned an inconvenience. He smirked. "You found out, okay, and?" Sarah flinched like she'd been slapped. Grant continued. "You want to yell? Fine. But you still need my contract, and I still have your wife's reputation in my pocket, so let's be adults." I stared at him. "Say it again." He shrugged. "You heard me." I pulled out my phone. "I did, and so did this." Grant's eyes flicked to the phone. Sarah's voice trembled. "Grant, stop." He laughed at her. Actually laughed. "Don't act innocent now." And that laugh, casual, cruel, was the final piece. Because in that sound, I heard the truth. He never cared about her. He never cared about me. He cared about control. I stood up. "Here's what's going to happen," I said calmly. "You're going to leave." Grant's smirk returned. "Or what?" I looked him dead in the face. "Or you're going to explain to the detective sitting by the bar why you're blackmailing a woman and coercing a business owner." Grant's face twitched. "Detective?" I nodded slightly toward the corner. The man at the bar stood up and approached. Plain clothes, calm posture. Badge flashed quietly. Grant's confidence cracked like thin ice. "What the hell is this?" Grant snapped. The detective's voice was flat. "Mr. Grant Halloway, we'd like to ask you a few questions." Grant looked at Sarah, eyes burning. "You set me up." Sarah's voice broke. You set me up first. Grant turned to me, furious. You think you win? Your wife still cheated. She still... I know, I said softly. And that's the part you didn't understand. Grant paused. I continued, voice low, steady. I'm not here to pretend my marriage is unbroken. I'm here to make sure you don't get to break more people for sport. Grant's jaw clenched. The detective gestured. Sir, come with me. Grant looked like he wanted to spit. Instead, he walked, because for the first time, he didn't have control. When he was gone, Sarah sank into the chair like her bones gave up. She covered her face. I ruined everything. I stared at the lobby doors, feeling a strange emptiness. Melissa's voice wasn't on speaker anymore, but I could still hear her from earlier. Don't let them flip it. Sarah looked up at me, eyes swollen. Are you leaving me? I didn't answer right away, because the honest answer was complicated. So I said the truth, I could say. I don't know, I whispered. But I know this. I'm not living in a lie. Sarah nodded, crying quietly. I'll do whatever you want. Therapy, time, I'll... Stop, I said gently. Don't bargain. Just be honest for once. She swallowed. Okay. I stood. I'm going to stay at my brother's tonight. She nodded again. Okay. As I walked away, my phone buzzed. Melissa. One text. I'm sorry for how I left you. I didn't know how to be decent back then. I stared at it. Then I typed back, you did one decent thing today. Don't waste it. I didn't forgive her in that moment, but I felt something loosen, like a knot I didn't know I'd been carrying finally gave way. Weeks passed. Sarah moved out temporarily. We started therapy. Not because I wanted to fix it like a broken appliance, because I needed to understand what was real and what was performance. Some days I hated her. Some days I missed her so much it felt embarrassing. Betrayal is like that. It doesn't move in a straight line. It circles. But here's the part nobody tells you. The moment you catch someone cheating isn't always the moment your life ends. Sometimes it's the moment you stop living on other people's terms. In the end, Sarah didn't get a clean redemption. She didn't deserve one. She had to earn every inch of trust like it was heavy. And me? I stopped being the man who froze. Because the first time, years ago, when I got betrayed, I begged for answers. This time, I demanded truth. And I got it. If you've ever been hit with news so sharp you felt your whole body go still, if you've ever sat in silence smiling at someone who's hiding a knife behind their back, you're not weak. You're human. But here's what I learned the hard way. Love without honesty isn't love. It's just a beautifully decorated trap. And if someone from your past calls you with a warning, don't ignore it just because you hate the messenger. Sometimes the message is the only thing that saves you. If this story pulled you in and you want more real, high-retention betrayal stories like this, subscribe to the channel. Because the scariest part of betrayal isn't the cheating. It's realizing the person you trusted most was watching you drown and still asking you to be quiet about the water. And that changes you forever.